Welcome everyone, join us today as we take a journey through the life of the First Lady of Country Music, Tammy Wynette, whose powerful voice and heartfelt songs captured the struggles and triumphs of love and life. So let's dive in. Tammy Wynette, born Virginia Wynette Pugh on May 5, 1942 in Itawamba County, Mississippi, in the United States of America. Born in Itawamba County, Mississippi, near the Alabama state line, she considered both Alabama and Mississippi her home states. Tammy was the only child of Mildred Fay Russell, a schoolteacher, and William Hollis Pugh, an aspiring musician. Her father died of a brain tumor when she was very young, but not before urging her to learn piano. After his death, her mother moved to Memphis to work at a World War II defense plant, leaving Tammy to be raised by her grandparents on their Mississippi farm. Being raised with her Aunt Carolyn, they developed a strong bond while she learned to play her father's instruments. At age 7, Tammy began working long days picking cotton on the family farm, a lesson in hard work she never forgot. Even after achieving fame, she kept a crystal bowl full of cotton in her home as a reminder of those days. Her father's legacy, a piano, a guitar, and the dream that his daughter would make music her life, became her escape from the arduous routine of farm life. She endured long hours in the fields by dreaming of singing before thousands of people. Tammy also enjoyed basketball, making the All-State team in 1958 and 1959, and took piano lessons, quickly showing natural talent. In school, she befriended Linda Kaysen, and along with another friend they formed a trio called Wynette, Linda and Imogen, singing at gospel functions and on a local radio show. They listened to country music together, including artists like Ernest Tubb and Hank Williams. Tammy attended Tremont High School in Tremont, Mississippi, where she was popular and voted Miss Tremont High School in 1960. Her teenage years were marked by arguments with her mother over dating and other issues. At 17, just a month before graduation, Tammy married Upal Bird, who was 5 years older. Initially planning to marry his brother DC, she ended up with Upal after DC remarried his first wife. Tammy's mother refused to sign the marriage papers, forcing Tammy to leave home. Her grandfather ultimately signed them. Tammy and Upal's marriage was tumultuous, primarily due to his inability to hold a steady job. They were finally forced to move into an abandoned log house with no indoor plumbing. Fed up with poverty, Tammy enrolled in beauty school in nearby Tupelo, funding her schooling with money given to her by her mother. After becoming pregnant again, Tammy asked Upal to leave, but he kept returning. Following one argument, Tammy was deemed as suffering a nervous breakdown and was taken to a psychiatric hospital, where she received 12 rounds of electric shock treatment for depression. Despite her mother's disapproval, Tammy eventually filed for divorce and secretly moved with her children to Birmingham, Alabama. Upal returned, and Tammy gave their marriage one last chance, but they divorced in 1965. During one of their final encounters, Upal dismissed Tammy's ambitions of becoming a country singer, telling her to dream on. Years later, at one of her concerts, Upal asked for her autograph, and she signed it, "Dream on baby, love Tammy." They saw each other occasionally at family events, and Upal tried to reconnect with their 3 daughters. Upal Bird would later die in a car crash in 1996. Tammy moved to Birmingham, living with her paternal grandparents and uncle, who worked at WBRC. He helped her audition for the Country Boy Eddie show, where she performed every morning, earning $45 per week while also working at Midfield Beauty Salon. She befriended pianist David Vest, recording demos and playing local bars. A trip to Nashville with DJ Fred Lenner inspired her to pursue a music career. Staying at the Anchor Motel, she met musician and future husband Don Chappell, and they performed together in several states. After numerous rejections, producer Kelso Hurston introduced her to Epic Records' Billy Sherrill, who signed her in 1966, then taking the stage name Tammy Wynette. She married songwriter Don Chappell in 1967. Tammy's first recording, Apartment No. 9 in 1966, garnered decent airplay but didn't become a hit. Her next release, Your Good Girl's Gonna Go Bad in 1967, reached the top 10. Later that year, she achieved her first #1 hit with My Elusive Dreams, a duet with David Houston, followed by her solo #1, I Don't Wanna Play House, which won a Grammy. Her classic Divorce came in 1968, highlighting themes of family breakup. In 1968, Tammy and producer Billy Sherrill wrote Stand By Your Man, a #1 country hit and a #19 pop chart success. Released during the height of the women's liberation movement, the song drew both praise and criticism for its message of forgiveness. It won Tammy the first of 3 consecutive Country Music Association Female Vocalist of the Year awards from 1968 to 1970, and was featured in the 1970 film 5 Easy Pieces. Tammy co-wrote hits Singing My Song and The Ways to Love a Man, both in 1969, solidifying her heroine of heartbreak status with her emotional vocal style. Meanwhile, Tammy's marriage to singer-songwriter Don Chappell in 1967 was troubled, beset by both personal and professional jealousy, with Tammy developing feelings for fellow country star George Jones. In 1968, Jones witnessed a fight between the Chappells, and at Jones's urging, Tammy and her daughters drove away with him and never went back. Jones and Tammy married on February 16, 1969. Their daughter, Georgette, was later born in 1970. Jones and Tammy, known as the President and First Lady of country music, recorded several hit duets reflecting their tumultuous relationship. Their first single, Take Me, in 1971, reached number 9 on the Billboard Country chart. Touring as Mr. and Mrs. Country Music, labeled on their tour bus, their marriage was strained by Jones's alcoholism, leading Tammy to file for divorce in 1973. They reconciled briefly and released We're Gonna Hold On, their first #1 hit. Despite continued success, they divorced in 1975 after ongoing marital issues. After divorcing Jones, Tammy faced anxiety about continuing her career. Fans often shouted, "Where's George?" during her performances. To reinvent herself, she created a new stage show, hiring the Gatlin brothers as her road band, and added several women to her crew. Her show featured a mix of up-tempo gospel and intimate ballads. In 1976, Tammy hit #1 on the country charts with Till I Can Make It On My Own, her first solo #1 in nearly 3 years, and quoted her favorite song. Both the song and album were well received, and she scored additional hits with You and Me, and the duet, Near You with Jones. Newly single, Tammy was romantically linked to Rudy Gatlin and Burt Reynolds, before marrying real estate developer Michael Tomlin on July 18, 1976. Tomlin, known for his lavish lifestyle, was reportedly less than genuine about his wealth, with even his office furniture allegedly rented. Their honeymoon in Hawaii was troubled, with Tomlin's reckless behavior, including firing a gun on the beach, alarming Tammy's children. The marriage was annulled just 6 weeks later. Despite not topping the charts, Tammy maintained commercial success, with solo singles like One Last Time and One of a Kind, reaching #6 on the Billboard Country chart in 1977. In 1978, Tammy married George Ritchie, her fifth and final husband. Ritchie, previously a songwriting partner, became her full-time manager and produced several of her albums. Their marriage lasted until her death in 1998 but was reportedly abusive, according to Tammy's daughter, Georgette. Soon after their marriage, Tammy claimed she was kidnapped, showing a large bruise as evidence. However, decades later, Georgette revealed in her memoir that she believed the kidnapping story was fabricated to cover up Ritchie's abuse. She described how Ritchie isolated Tammy from her family and friends, making it difficult for her to fight back. Tammy suffered from a variety of health problems for much of her life, including chronic intestinal pain, and underwent multiple surgeries. She continued to work despite the pain, increasingly relying on painkillers. Some believe Ritchie encouraged her drug use, indirectly contributing to her death. Reports indicate that Tammy sometimes refused pain medication, but Ritchie would administer it anyway. Other times, she was in pain, and he refused to help. Tammy reportedly admitted Ritchie allegedly threatened to ruin her life if she left, prompting her to stay with him. In 1985, Tammy made significant changes to revive her career, hiring Stan Moress as her manager, who revamped her image and show. She collaborated with Mark Gray on a cover of Sometimes When We Touch, reaching #6 on the Billboard Country chart, her first top 10 hit in 4 years. This success was followed by the album of the same name, which peaked at number 32. Despite her comeback, Tammy faced setbacks, including a stint at the Betty Ford Center for Prescription Drug Addiction in 1986 and declaring bankruptcy in 1988. She released 3 more albums, Higher Ground in 1987, Next to You in 1989, and Heart Over Mind in 1990. In 1991, she collaborated with KLF on Justified and Ancient, which became a chart-topping hit in 18 countries. In 1993, Tammy joined Loretta Lynn and Dolly Parton to record the landmark album, Honky Tonk Angels. The following year she released the duet album Without Walls, featuring artists like Melissa Etheridge, Elton John, and Sting. Health issues plagued her throughout the 1990s, leading to missed concerts and hospitalizations. In 1995, she reunited with George Jones for the album, One, and embarked on a duet tour. Despite being dropped by Epic Records in 1995, Tammy remained a popular concert performer. Her final recording was a remake of The Beach Boys, In My Room, with Brian Wilson. Tammy's last concerts and TV appearances took place in March 1998. Tammy struggled with health problems throughout her life, and her condition worsened in her final years, making her appear frailer. Sadly, on April 6, 1998, at age 55, Tammy passed away while sleeping at her home in Nashville, Tennessee. Her husband, George Ritchie, found her dead that evening after they had been sleeping on adjacent living room couches all day. Her doctor, Wallace Marsh, flew in from Pennsylvania to certify her death, initially stating that she died from a blood clot in her lung. A medical examiner who later performed the autopsy declared Tammy had instead died from cardiac arrhythmia, with several powerful drugs in her system at the time of her death. Tammy's remains were interred in the Woodlawn Cross Mausoleum at Woodlawn Memorial Park, Nashville, in Tennessee. And there you have it. Thank you for joining us in exploring the life and legacy of Tammy Wynette. Her voice and spirit live on, inspiring future generations of artists and fans alike. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe for more videos just like this. Take care and bye for now.